spanning North Arkansas into southern parts of the state, and there's enough ingredients in play, especially a lot of wind energy, that we can get these guys to spin up. Corallys is taking a closer look at the storm, and you'll notice we're looking just to the north of Ulm, rotation right along 79 going into the Rowe community. A lot of you folks are going to know exactly where that is, and you can see some streets here. This is Propeller Road, this is Elm Road, County Road 8 to the south, County Road 111. This is the general area of rotation. Here's Phillips Cemetery Road, just for some more context of who's going to be in the path of this storm. If you live in this warning polygon, you want to go ahead and take shelter immediately. Again, that does include Clarendon. This storm's moving pretty quickly, 50 miles per hour at last check, so it is going to be in the Clarendon community here very soon, probably in the next few minutes, before eventually tracking towards the north and east. Now, if this storm maintains its current track, generally north-northeast, I think it will take it to the east of Brinkley. But if you're in Brinkley this morning and you're wondering what's going on and you're saying, Corallys and Skot, do I need to take cover? Be prepared to. Yes, you are under the tornado warning, and I think there is a good reason for that. The path, though, I think would keep it just to the east, which would be some good news for you. But let's play this safe, all right? Good when you're not in the tornado warning at the moment. That certainly could be extended up to your area here in the next few moments. Stuttgart, initially you were in the first warning, and then parts of Stuttgart was in this exact warning, but you've been dropped. I think we can give you the all clear. In fact, you'll see that line of thunderstorms has now pushed to the east of Stuttgart. We're in fine shape. Heavy rain continues in Duval Bluff this morning. DeWitt, Arkansas County, you are seeing some heavy thunderstorms moving through as well. This is where our severe weather threat is likely going to be over the next couple of hours. If you live west of this line, certainly you're going to be dealing with a lot of rain, but your severe weather threat is somewhat minimal. It's here where we're going to pay attention for the potential of some additional flooding and flash flooding. We've seen numerous reports of that already this morning. Certainly could be capable of some flash flooding here where these thunderstorms are moving through as well. These are very efficient rainmakers, seeing a decent amount of lightning and thunder as well. So some of you folks may be waking up and wondering what's going on. There's one warning for the entire state of Arkansas. It's going to include parts of Monroe counties here, and that is for a Doppler radar indicated rotation. That thus far hasn't produced a tornado yet. It can at any minute, and so that's why we're tracking this for you very closely. Corallys, what do you say? Let's take another look at debris tracker just so we can confirm that this storm is staying elevated.
Yeah, I was just looking at that right now, the NROT tool in our Storm Track 11, and it's weakened, definitely the area circulation as it kind of moves over Rowe. I still would, of course, be cautious of that because some of these storms, you know, can pulse and circulate a little bit.
As this specific one has done just this morning.
Exactly. It's still moving towards the north and east, zipping at around 50 miles per hour. It's now headed towards, again, following Highway 79 there, I believe, towards Clarendon. But yeah, I'll backtrack it a little bit so you can kind of see the history and how
pretty strong here.
It was intense when it moved through the community of Ulm. Then as soon as it kind of moved over the Rowe, which is right over you guys right now, showing signs of weakening. But of course, we're still under this warning for another 8 to 10 minutes or so, and then they'll decide whether or not they'll kind of continue it further down.
Let's give some geographical context here. Here's going to be Duval's Bluff. Here's Clarendon. Here's Holly Grove, and you can see this is the Arkansas River right here. So this is river bottom land. This is certainly where this storm's going to be tracking here real soon. Clarendon, yes, this storm does show at the moment some signs of weakening, but as Corallys and I have discussed, it pulses up, it pulses down. You're in the warning. Let's go ahead and take those tornado safety precautions. Let's back it up just to be safe. Corallys, just go back a couple of scans here. I'm still not seeing any strong signals of debris. Certainly some good news. What that would tell us is if a tornado did touch down, we're not finding any debris in the actual atmosphere, but we are finding some decent rotation. This is going to be base velocity. Okay, it's still there. It's certainly not as impressive as it once was. That brand new update that just came in shows it a little bit weaker, but certainly still some rotation within that thunderstorm. No new updates there. So Clarendon, this is going to be moving into your direction here real soon. This is going to cross the river. It'll continue tracking towards the northeast, probably getting somewhat close to the general Monroe community. How about we go back to Max 1? Certainly seeing some rotation a little bit better right here. It's still going to be near that Rowe community. It looks to maybe even be slowing down. I'm not finding this storm moving as fast perhaps as it once was. Let's take a tight look. Let's go street level if you don't mind, Corallys. I'm curious if we can name some streets that are going to be impacted or currently seeing this rotation. Here's East Trotter. right here. Here's going to be 79. Here's the landing strip road. That rotation now moving towards the northeast. Lakeside Road, Highway 79, currently seeing that rotation in your area. Please don't go outside and look at it. It's, first of all, it's dark. It's raining pretty heavily. You're not going to see anything at all. The lightning's probably not even going to help you out. And then here's Clarendon. You can see we're not far from Clarendon at all. We're just about 2 to 3 miles towards the southwest where that rotation is right in this area.
But yeah, this warning is still in effect until 2:45. Good news is that it's still showing signs of weakening, but we're still going to be, you still want to be just on your toes because, again, the storms could easily strengthen up within the next few minutes.
One of the things that Corallys and I are going to be looking at here this morning are power outages, and that can sometimes be a clue as to did something touch down or was it just maybe some winds, either or. We do have some reports of power outages this morning near Rowe and Ulm. Not a lot. There's not a lot of folks that live in these communities to begin with, but power outages nonetheless there this morning, which tells us minimally there was probably some damaging winds moved through. Very well could have been a tornado. Haven't seen Doppler radar indicated rotation yet. Of course, we'll wait for some ground truth, especially once this storm passes over the next few minutes. This remains Doppler radar indicated. The tornado warning itself from Monroe and Prairie counties continuing to track towards the north and east. Brinkley population center, you're technically in this warning polygon. Obviously, here you are. With that said, the current track of this storm, I think it's going to move a little bit towards the east of town, east of Brinkley. It could change. That's why we're going to stay on top of this until the threat is over with. But the current guidance would suggest that this is going to cross more of 49, continuing to track off towards the north and east near the Goodwin community. You're looking at all that rain. So the area of rotation, let me tell you where that's going to be. It's going to be right in this area. So there's some serious downpours that are going to obscure your view. You're probably not going to be able to see anything, whether it's a funnel cloud, a wall cloud, or a tornado, should that actually be occurring. The latest radar has given us brand new data just now in, and what it shows us is there sure is a rotation right here, but it's very weak. It's very broad. Let's see, getting new information from the Weather Service. I tend to agree. So here's what's happening. This rotation is weakening, but the Weather Service, given the history of the storm, it likely is going to extend this warning. We'll know. Got about 4 more minutes in the current warning itself. They may pull it out, and the reason why, this very storm did produce some tornado damage near Humphrey about 30 to 40 minutes ago, and then it weakened and it quickly pulsed right back up. It's a pretty typical life cycle of these thunderstorms, so it probably is a safe move to go ahead and continue that tornado warning a little bit further towards the north and east. It's moving pretty quickly. We're looking at about a 50-mile-per-hour track on this storm. Here's some estimated times of arrival. They're just that. They're estimates based off current projections. Clarendon, it's time to be in your tornado safety areas. Take those tornado safety plans. Here's something we can help you with. We're going to be streaming live on thb11.com, on your mobile app, THB11. Those are all free, of course. So if you want to move to the bathroom, the centermost room in your home, wherever your safe place is, you can take us with you, or you can just turn the TV up. We're going to see you through the storm until this threat has passed. One warning remains in the state of Arkansas right now. It is this tornado warning itself. Got about 3 more minutes to go. The rotation is very weak, but this specific cell certainly has a history of pulsing up and pulsing down. Rotation just to the west of Clarendon. It will be tracking towards the north and east. It will cross 302 very soon. It will cross 17 very soon before eventually moving towards the Highway 49. Here's Brinkley, here's Goodwin, here's Devall's Bluff. Devall's Bluff, you're fine. Stuttgart, you're fine. You can honestly go back to bed. You've got some more rain, probably some flooding issues, but in terms of tornadoes, I think you're in the all clear. You're now on the backside of this system. Corallys, I'll bring you in if you have any new updates.
Right now, no. Looking at the Storm Track 11, the NROT, really is not impressive at all. The circulation has really weakened a lot. But as you mentioned earlier, the storm has had a history of showing some rotation. So I think they're just going to play it safe and hold on to that warning. Of course, we still have about 2 more minutes left of this warning before they decide to expand it further downstream. So it looks like this one just came in right now.
Yeah, that warning has been extended. They're going to extend it until 3:15. So they're adding 30 minutes onto this tornado warning for Monroe County.
So let's go ahead and switch back over to just Max 1 so we can just go back to that same warning. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to just so you can see the warning boxes. It makes it easier to see what's going on. So this right here, so it's just on the outskirts, that tornado warning polygon, which it's highlighted in red, meaning it's likely, but it's only radar indicated. It's not necessarily observed. So right now, that's definitely good news. There's no observation, but it's hard to tell. Obviously, with a lot of the rain that we have going on, it'll be rain wrapped at that, and it's at nighttime as well. So at the moment, this warning is in effect until at least 3:15, I believe, for parts of Monroe County. But this is still into parts of Prairie as well. So the community of Ulm, you guys are just outside of the polygon. I will still just hunker down a little bit for the next several minutes before it starts to calm down a little bit. But this warning is still going on for at least another 30 minutes or so before they decide to drop it, which right now it's still showing some signs of weakening. So that's definitely some good news. I'll go back over towards live winds so we have a better idea where they are. There is two, again, polygons are kind of overlapping each other, with the old one that extends further to our back, and then the one that's the new warning until 3:15 that includes Clarendon, which is where we'll probably see that rotation or a little bit better, but it's not very defined, Scott.
Yeah, I'd like to go ahead and take a live look into Brinkley this morning. This is from one of the RDOT cameras, and what you can see is some heavy winds, blinding rain. Visibility is rather limited out there as the supercell continues to pass through. Brinkley, that's what you're looking at on the left side of your screen. And then here's going to be Clarendon right here. So this tracking generally towards the northeast. It's going to bring some additional heavy rains, heavy winds, and probably some lightning and thunder to the Brinkley area. But for the time being, broad rotation. What we're doing is we're waiting to see if this storm pulses back up. Looking at this right now, I don't have a whole lot of confidence that there's going to be a tornado touching the ground in Clarendon. It certainly could. There's Doppler radar rotation, but this storm, given its history of quickly pulsing up, pulsing down, pulsing up, and at times producing tornado damage. That's why this secondary warning has been issued. It is going to be just for Monroe County, and that runs until 3:15 this morning. So we have about 30 more minutes to go before that's allowed to expire. Perhaps they'll cancel it earlier. If it doesn't pulse back up, that's a real possibility for us. Let's pause right there. That gives us some good state highways to look at: 302, 17, 241, and of course Highway 49 right here. Your rotation is going to be just around the Clarendon community. It looks to be slowing down. Weather Service still has this progged at 50 miles per hour. Perhaps that's the case, but my interpretation is this may be moving a little bit slower right now, generally towards the north and east as well. Let's take another look at velocity. I'm very curious to know what the trend is with this system. So this is current. Very weak signal of some rotation right in this general vicinity. Corallys, if you can, if it's not too hard, I'm wondering if we can't back this up a few steps so that we can show folks at home what was strong rotation versus what we're seeing now. That'll give us a really clear picture of what we've been tracking for them this morning. So here it is, right? Let's pause right there. You can see this was earlier. This was 2:30 this morning, 2:32. You can see tight blues, some tight reds, moving through the row community. It starts to weaken a little bit, passing into the Clarendon area. It shows a little bit more strength to it, passes off towards the north and east of Clarendon, and really starts to fizzle out. That brings us to current time right now. So a tornado warning certainly still in effect until 3:15 this morning for Monroe County. You can see it extending a little bit further out towards the northeast this morning. And this is some estimated times of arrival based off current trajectory. Rich community at 3 o'clock this morning. Wheatley at 3:10, Blossom at 3:14. Should it hold together and continue on that track? It looks like Brinkley, part of Brinkley, is going to continue to be in that warned area. I know that's a population center, one that we take care of diligently. Take the tornado safety precautions, be ready to move. Certainly do what you do during a tornado warning, but it really looks like this storm should stay off towards your east. Corallys, let's take a statewide view. A lot of folks may just now be joining us. The current time 2:48. You're watching THV 11. Meteorologist Corallys, Ortiz, myself, tracking a line of thunderstorms capable of producing some severe weather. Here's that line. It's now pushed into parts of eastern Arkansas. One warning remains with this system. There's enough ingredients, a lot of wind energy with it, that we certainly can see these embedded areas of rotation along that line until it eventually crosses out of our viewing area. On the back side, if you live to the left of that orange line, the west of that orange line, so that's Little Rock, that's Pine Bluff, that's Searcy, Clinton, Arkadelphia. We've got some flooding issues to deal with as more rain likely continues over the next few hours, but in terms of severe weather, west of that orange line, you're in the all clear. Look at all of these flash flood warnings. These run largely until 7, 8 o'clock this morning, so our threat will continue. There's been a lot of water over a very short amount of time with not just this round, but yesterday's round of storms and then over the last week or so. In fact, radar estimates are indicating some very serious water. Corallys, there is a way to quarry some of these. I am curious if we can get some ideas of rainfall estimates. This is going to be Danville. We saw a lot of rain in Danville over the last couple of hours. Numerous reports of flooding out of parts of Yell County, Pope County, south of I-40 there, Perry County, Faulkner County, seeing a lot of rain. And, okay, let's take a look at that storm. We are here for that tornado warning coverage. If you're just joining us this morning, there's a tornado warning for mostly just Monroe County. We've had an area of rotation passing through the Clarendon community. You can see that polygon is right here. It looks just like this. For some context, the I-40 is going to be that orange line right there. We're looking to the south of I-40 for the most part, a very tiny sliver towards the north and east. Aside from that, your rotation is going to be in the Clarendon community, soon to pass over 302, soon it will pass over 17, and soon it will pass over 49 if it continues on that current track. The rotation is probably going to be right in this general area. It remains broad. It's not as concerning as maybe it once was a few minutes ago. Corallys is taking us in tighter. Here's the elementary school. Here's going to be Pettigrew Road, Watson Lane, State Highway 86. There's probably going to be a few folks that live along 86. This is where we're seeing that rotation at. Now to the east of Clarendon, southeast of Clarendon. If you live along Sand Road, Spurlock Road, Wilkerson Lane, Lumber Lane, State Highway 86, Sand Road, McCullough Lane, rotation's probably right on top of you. Probably hear those winds outside as this area passes over you. This rotation is pretty weak. Which is a good trend. We would love to see it continue to trend, and perhaps they'll allow that warning to expire early. Right now they've got it set to expire at 3:15. You're looking on the south side of that polygon. It's not necessarily in the middle like we would typically expect it. Maybe a little bit of a shift in that rotation there. This is north of Duncan, but Duncan, rest assured you are not in this warning. Monroe, it looks like the polygon comes pretty close to clipping you folks there. You might want to be on guard this morning if you live in Monroe. For some context, here's Louisiana Purchase State Park. Will not impact the state park, but will likely move just to the north as that rotation is probably getting close to the 302 to Highway 17 area and largely running north of 79.
I'm just looking over at Storm Track 11 right now, whether or not there's been any impressive signs of rotation, and there really has not. It's kind of been consistent. If we can switch over to that, I'll just do like a little bit of a history track of where we first started. Again, it was still some signs of some pretty impressive rotation when it was near Rowe, but once we kind of started moving across Highway 79 there, it showed signs of weakening as it neared Clarendon, and it's still pretty weak. It looks like they're really shrinking that polygon right now as well. It's moving towards the northeast. The latest information at around 45 miles per hour in Monroe County is still until at least 3:15 this morning. So we still have a good 23 minutes or so on this warning, but you can see the polygon is shrinking. We can go back towards max 1 for that. As you can see, the rotation there is not very impressive at all, and the polygon is shrinking and shrinking until it gets out of our viewing area.
So Clarendon, you've been under this warning for the last little bit. You are now no longer under this warning. If you want to go back to bed, you can do that with some assurances that you're okay this morning. Clarendon has been dropped from the warning. The severe weather threat continues marching off towards the east. This is the current warning, and you can see that they continue to trim it, and the reason why is they're letting folks that are no longer under the threat let their guard down, and then will continue tracking towards the north and east. We'll see if there's a reissuance further upstream. Given the current trends, I wouldn't think so, but overall this specific storm has pulsed up so many times. At one point, probably about 30 to 40 minutes ago, producing tornado damage near Humphrey. So that's why we're taking it very seriously. Given that its history of doing that, it certainly will be capable of doing so again. Here's going to be I-40. If you just happen to know anyone traveling along I-40 early this morning, between Brinkley and let's say West Memphis, you might want to give them a heads up that not only are they're going to be running into a lot of heavy rain, probably some gusty winds, and at times the potential for some brief spin-up tornadoes. That will be possible. That's probably what we've seen with this specific storm alone. Corallys is taking us back to find that rotation, and while I still think it's there, it's just really weak. Generally speaking, it's very broad, and to have more concerning rotation, you want it to be real tight. You want those winds to be really spinning real tight. Almost think of it as a figure skater that brings their arms in. Their velocity is going to increase, and we're just not seeing that right now. We're broadening out. It's that figure skater putting their arms out. That's what we're seeing, which often kind of slows that rotation down. Here's 17. It looks like that's where our rotation is at Highway 17. Here's going to be 241, likely in your neck of the woods here real soon. You're going to find that rotation spin in that direction, tracking towards the north and east. If you live along 49, perhaps 39, 241, that general interchange, that's probably going to be with you in the next couple of moments. Time to go ahead and take those tornado safety precautions as we continue to track this storm. Folks up in the booth, I am curious if we have any more updates on power outages. When you get that information, I'll be certain to relay that to our viewers at home. Wouldn't mind taking a look into Brinkley again either whenever we get the opportunity. Here's the line of storms tracking into the Delta, off into eastern Arkansas. Really not a lot going on with it. There is a tornado watch in effect for the Delta. This runs through 8 a.m. It does include some southeastern Arkansas counties as well, including Union, Ashley, Chico, Deshay, extending into northeastern Arkansas. When I got to work a little bit ago, Pulaski County was in the watch, but given the threat continues to shift, expect the Weather Service to periodically drop counties from that tornado watch. So I don't think we're actually going to be seeing a threat through 8 a.m. I think most of us will be cleared prior to that. In the meantime, given the warnings in place, given the rotation that we have seen, that tells us there are enough ingredients in place in the atmosphere to support the development of some tornadoes, to get some of these supercells to rotate that are embedded within this line. It's a pretty common occurrence. In fact, most Arkansas tornadoes, according to statistics, occur from squall lines just like this. So this isn't anything we're uncommon with here this morning. Brinkley, you're no longer in that warning, so that's some good news for you as they continue to kind of clean that up. The Wheatley community, I don't know if you're technically in it, but you certainly are going to be close. Should they allow that to continue, or should they extend that beyond? Here's Morrow, here's Monroe. This is all tracking towards the northeast. Jeffrey's Historical Church 256, so that's coming up basically right now. Emmons 304, Alfrey 305, Oak Grove Church 305. Pleasant Valley Church at 307. Just a few points of interest in the path of this storm that you're going to want to be mindful of if you live near these locations or in these locations. It's time to go and take those tornado safety precautions. What that could mean for you. It could be in a basement if you've got one. Not a lot of homes in Arkansas have basements, so you want to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Of course, try to avoid some windows. You can turn the TV up real loud. We're going to be with you through the end of this event, currently set to expire at 3:15. We'll track these storms until they're out of the state as well. Let's get a look at velocity, if you don't mind, Corallys. Just want to get an idea of if that rotation is doing anything different.
Not very impressive, and it's honestly really fallen off on our Storm Track 11. It's almost non-existent. So I think we just have your basic gusty winds within the line itself, but nothing showing signs of that rotation. But I think they're just going to play it safe for the next 15 to 20 minutes or so, just because of the history of the storm. But fortunately, it's already making its exit out of their viewing area. So you still want to hold on at least for another 20 minutes or so if you're within that polygon, which is including parts of, I believe, northeastern Monroe County there. So some of the communities that we have mentioned earlier, we have several highways you can kind of recognize there. Highway 17, 241, 49, 238, all within that, just south of Interstate 40. So playing it safe for the next 20 minutes or so. Good news is that lots of weakening, but we still have, the rest of the morning to go for that line to make its exit.
So 7,100 power outages statewide. There are some near Stuttgart, near Humphrey, near Ulm, where we did have a radar confirmed tornado from this exact cell, in fact, but none in the Clarendon community. So some brand new information for you. The tornado warning has been allowed to expire. The reason why is we've been tracking that rotation really just fell off and fell apart. So what we're going to do, we're going to give you one statewide view of Doppler radar. It continues to show widespread area of rain, some thunderstorms storms along that line spanning from Jonesboro towards Greenville, Mississippi. That line is the only severe threat left with this system. On the backside, we're going to continue to see rain moving through, and that's going to be on top of all the rain we've seen. So if you live, Corallys, you did a wonderful line for me earlier. If you could draw another line here. If you live towards the west, let's say west of Pine Bluff, west of this orange line, all clear. You're in fine shape. Our threat continues into the morning hours for eastern Arkansas. Myself, Corallys Ortiz, will be here tracking for you all night long, that severe weather threats. So for both of us, thank you for choosing THV 11. We're going to send you back to regular programming. We'll cut back in if needed.